Hey guys, welcome back. We're going to be talking today about how action actually makes us feel better, and how inaction can obviously make us feel a lot worse. So I'm going to cover both of those sides first, and I'm going to start with inaction. Now, I'm a thinker a lot of the time, or at least I have been in the past. And although thinking has a lot of positives to it, it can also bring with it some negatives. So I definitely appreciate the fact that I was born with the ability, or I think we all have the ability, but I feel like I was more geared towards thinking. And that's brought me a lot of positives in my life. However, it's also brought a lot of trouble as well, because I can get lost in my thoughts. And when I get lost in my thoughts, it might be for just a few minutes, it might be for days, and it might be for much longer. At least it has been in the past. So there is definitely a lot of benefits in thinking, of course, but overthinking can cause a lot of problems, because for me, overthinking can very easily fall into one of the two groups of types of thought that don't benefit us. For example, in most cases, having thoughts about the past that are likely to trigger depression isn't really going to do me much benefit. Yes, there are things that I can pick out from my past that will help me in terms of trying not to make similar mistakes in the future, but on the whole, there's no real benefits for me, at least from my experiences, by going back into the past where I'm likely to trigger depression. So I do go back into the past to try to pick out useful information to help me in the present, but I try not to dwell on any past thoughts that are causing me pain. It's not always the case that I can do that though. Like there are times where I do get caught up in thoughts about my past, and it does trigger suffering, basically. I mean, it's not something that I believe you can completely get rid of. Maybe you can. I feel like I've improved a lot in a very short period of time over the last couple of years, but I still think as human beings we are imperfect, and that was what makes us perfect. And so that's kind of what I wanted to cover in regards to thinking too much and not acting enough. Just before I go on to that though, because I remember I wanted to make one other point as well, is yes, going back into the past can cause suffering, but also going into the future in terms of thinking about a particular situation and what might happen. Obviously this is what we call anxiety. So yes, I definitely think that there are benefits to looking back into the past, picking up information from there and using it in your present. And yes, I also think that there is positives in terms of forward planning by looking into the future, trying to predict the future. But I think it's very important to make sure that we do not get caught in inaction while we're doing those tasks for prolonged periods of time. I think action is extremely important, and that's what I'm going to go on to now. Cool. Why do I think action is really important? I think as human beings, we are social creatures, but we are doing creatures as well. We learn more from experience than from anything else. And if we get caught up in our thoughts, it's very unlikely that we're doing anything else at that very moment in time other than thinking. So by its very nature, us completing actions helps us evolve, helps us become our best selves, because we learn from almost every experience that we're having. So that's kind of my point on action and how action can be so beneficial to us. Now, to take it to that next level, yes, you could be just doing all sorts of actions all the time, but this is where I've talked about in previous videos about sitting down, finding out what your purpose is, and trying to figure out, okay, what are those tasks that I need to do basically to realize my vision, whatever that vision is that you want to realize. And then that will allow you to not only do actions, but do actions that are specifically taking you towards that vision that you want to realize. Cool. It's been a pleasure, guys. If you have any questions, please let me know. Take care.